Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from 2 Minutes, Points, and Miles. RJ, how are you this week?
I'm great. I have a stack of tech items next to me that Wednesday will be going goodbye, and I will be picking up a MacBook Neo.
I understand why you're doing it. I still question many things.
Here's the thing, if it was coming out of my wallet, I wouldn't do it. Because I have enough tech that I'm not actively using to turn in to get a Best Buy gift card to buy it, I'm doing it. That is my line. If I had to pay money out of my wallet, I would not do it. But I am paying $0 out of pocket.
I may yet pay for a MacBook Neo, but I would be paying for one for my partner, who it might work better for. But fair, I guess. Surprised all that stuff's not going to GameStop. Yeah, they'd nickel and dime me on the credit.
Yeah.
They would.
Yeah. They would.
And we're joined by Lonnie from Call Me Lonnie. Lonnie, how are you this week?
I am doing well. Speaking of tech, I just realized a couple of things. I got to throw some old boxes away because I basically I took all my old smartphones that Apple would still provide a value for, and I took them to the Apple store. And I have well over $2,000, almost $3,000 in Apple gift cards now that are just going to sit on gift cards until I decide to buy something else. I'm not actually interested in the Neo, so I'm not going to follow RJ down that path right now. But like my MacBook Pro, which I'm on right now, is an M3. Maybe I get the 6. Maybe I wait next year and get the M7. Maybe I get whatever phone. Well, I'm probably going to skip iPhone 18, but maybe I get a 19 or an Air 2. I do kind of like the way the Air looks and feels, even though I didn't buy it. But yeah, my next Apple product is basically paid for now. And so I did that. I did everything except for a Pixel 10 Pro XL, which is still sealed in the box, never took it out. And I'm probably selling it. So if anyone is interested in it, hit me up in the Discord.
Fair enough. There you go. So, as we are wont to do, we like to start off with viewer questions. Our first question comes from meowmix, or Juan meowmix, who asks, how does the podcast differ from the Thursday show? That's not my question exactly, but I'm just curious. So I will turn it over to our executive producer, RJ. RJ, how we do this?
So we offer several options for your viewing pleasure on Stack Your Points. There is a Monday Live, which typically is Craig and myself. We go deep into a single topic or a couple of closely very related topics. And then we do the show. The full podcast episode is recorded Monday, which is what we're doing right now. Tuesday, I edit. Also, 10 Questions With comes out. Wednesday, the podcast comes out. Thursday, Matt and I do a live. Now, the 2 lives are live. They are not scripted. Matt and I and Craig and I might come up with a general topic, but it is live. There are viewer questions coming in. There are things from the chat. There are side tracks that sometimes become the most important part of what we're doing. Matt and I have had that a couple of times where people will ask a question and we do 45 minutes on it. The podcast is ostensibly scripted in the sense of we have questions to go through that are not ours, and then we have topics to go through. So the podcast is the most scripted. It's not like beat for beat scripted. None of us are telling the others what to say, but the podcast is pre-recorded and it is scripted. The 2 lives are live, and then the Tuesday interview show is obviously recorded beforehand. I edit it. There's not a ton of editing to it, but there is a little bit. So that is sort of our lineup. So Monday through Thursday, we have something coming out every day. But yeah, the lives really are live. Like when somebody put something in the chat, as you all saw when Matt and I went off on 2 hours of this new Hyatt card that wasn't in fact real or might be real, it would be hilarious if it comes out and it's exactly that card or very nearly closely that card.
So mad.
But it's just people will put things in the Discord or in the chat, and then we will sort of go off our merry way. So that is how sort of the shows are the shows. The cool factor is diminished by at least 15% on everything that Lonnie's not on.
I'd say the cool factor goes down more when there's no Lonnie, but that's just me.
I was trying to be nice to my other co-hosts.
Yeah, don't be nice to me. Thank you for that one, RJ. Thank you, Juan. Our next question comes from DiamondRyce, who asks, United CEO has hinted that due to the conflicts in regards to oil, fuel charges are supposedly going to increase everywhere in aviation. Would you try and book what you can now, say trips for the rest of this year, for example, if not done yet, or wait it out and book last minute still? Secondary question, but kind of related. How early or late do you book flights to get the best deal? This coming from DiamondRyce. Lonnie, I'll turn to you first.
Couple of things there. So a lot in this question. One, the gas and the oil prices, if you've stepped outside, you already know the answer to that. The vehicle might change the fuel and the fuel costs, and how that fuel is made has not. And jet fuel costs way more than what you put in your gas tank in your car. Well, if my car takes 91 octane, what does the jet take? Like 189 octane, 250
enough to get it off the ground and keep it in the air.
That is a beautiful thing about physics that technically we don't still understand why it works, but it does work, so nobody questions it. So just FYI, you're always falling in an airplane. Anyway, before we go off on a tangent, now, would you try to book now versus wait for a trip for the rest of the year? I personally say book as early as possible, Usually, there's always these myths, like if you book on a Tuesday at high tide, 42 days before you need to leave, you'll get the best price. It's dynamic pricing, folks. It's high when a lot of people are booking. Well, first off, it's a two-sided coin of dynamic pricing with airlines. It's high during high travel times, period. Like, you want to fly on a Friday or a Saturday, it's just going to be high. You want to fly home on a Sunday, it's just going to be higher. The other aspect of it is if there's a lot of traffic going through, they realize people are buying a lot of tickets right now. This goes with almost any airline. The price will go up. They're going to be like, oh, there's a lot of people trying to buy flights right now. Let's just raise the price up like 4%. It's just normal. Also, dynamic pricing on yourself. And this, you can do the cookies, you can clear your cache, you can do incognito. But if you keep looking up the same flight, you're going to realize the price fluctuates. No one actually has proven this, but at the same time, just go play around with it and watch what happens. The price will fluctuate between like an hour ago and now. Not because there's no seat or less seats, just because you keep. So that type of thing. But what I like to say is book as early as you possibly can, because the pricing more than anything is going to be available on supply and demand, period. If there's a lot of seats left on the plane, you're going to get a better price than if there's only 10 seats left on the plane. So try to book as early as possible. That's a flat out full stop fact right there. As for, I'm trying to remember all the parts of this question. Booking last minute, I mean, life's, there's nothing about that. So chances are you might find one of those really sweet deals, or you call Hilton and they're like, hey, go talk to our timeshare people, and they give you a sweet deal for like $50 on a 7-night whatever at all inclusive. You're like, cool, I'll take it for the 90-minute timeshare meeting. I'm not going to do it. I can't sit in that meeting. But if that's something you want to do, I'm just saying, if you find a good deal and it's a 3-day weekend, that's a last minute thing. There's nothing you can do about that. So you just got to take that as a one-off. Secondary question, but kind of related. How early or late do I book flights to get the best deal? It's not about necessarily the best deal. It's just about getting it and wiping it off my list. Like, I literally keep a list of flights right here in my office on a whiteboard that I still need to, every place that I'm going will say when, the hotel, the flight, how I'm booking. Is I'm going to do FHR or the edit, transport, i.e. am I renting a car or whatnot, all of that. And I just kind of check it off. And so if I can book a year out, then I'll book a year out. Doesn't matter. If I got to book, there's times where I might say we're going somewhere in August right now. Well, then I'll just book it right now, even though that's only a couple of months away, if that makes sense. But I always try to book as early as possible because the best price is based on supply and demand. But because of my loyalty, my status, and everything that I have with United, I might actually get the best deal because I'm a card holder, et cetera, by booking early as well, which I talked about last week. I got paid $16 and it was a 30-something mile per 30-something thousand per mile flight for my family. And we got all three of us for like 15 or 16,000 miles each. Yeah, I'm going to book that right now because that's what United gave me right now. Can't guarantee they're going to give me that later. Hopefully I try to answer that in the most realistic way possible.
Nope, that's fair. RJ.
I can't book last minute. My brain will fry if I try to book last minute. I want it off my plate, which means I'm going to book as soon as I can talk everyone else in my travel party into booking. Sometimes that's 3 months out. Sometimes that's 6 months out. Sometimes that's a year out. It really depends on who I'm traveling with. For me, if I'm traveling by myself, as soon as I have confirmed this is where I am going, this is when I am going, I am booking. With hotels, most of the time it's really easy because you don't necessarily have to pay until you get there. So it's just you're reserving your room. With flights, you got to pay typically. So that is a little more challenging at times, but I much rather pay because I'm going to get it back somehow if the trip doesn't happen. But yeah, I am not that book it at the last minute, hope for a deal. Oh, I'm sitting in 46F by the bathroom. That is not happening. So I think sometimes getting it off, as long as it's in a range, right? If a flight I know is usually 45,000 miles is showing at 70, I might give it a couple weeks to see if it comes down. If it hasn't come down, then I might just book it and then I can adjust later. But typically, as soon as I know I'm doing it, I'm booking.
RJ, I would love to see your family's group chat around travel.
So it's usually me standing in the kitchen with my parents going, "Hey, can I book the thing yet? Can I book? Can I, we're doing this thing. We're agreeing we're doing this thing. Can I book? Can I please book this?" That is how this goes. And then my
Also-
mom telling me, no. Okay, now you can book it.
Also, just to add on to that, you made another great point of if the pricing changes. So going back to United, if you're paying cash, then 100%. If you're on the fence, get the refundable fare. In most cases, you can always change your flight. And I'm going to speak only for United. You can always change your flight. And there might be a change fee. There might be a difference in cost. It's usually pretty reasonable. But if you book with miles, you can usually cancel and they just give you back your miles, or they give you back a ticket for future flight certificate with that set amount of miles or the equivalent value of the flight, which you can just use basically a gift card later. Unfortunately, that usually expires in 12 months. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you're going to be able to make a change flight or use it for something else within the next 12 months. But I say all that because book it and you're basically free and clear. If something changes, pricing changes, or your mind changes, you can back out of it.
Yep. We probably won't see these fuel charge changes immediately, but as with all things, they're going to creep in, and then when they creep in, they become the norm, and they're going to make it the norm. And when the crisis is over, fuel charges aren't going back down. Like, we become accustomed to the norm, and the norm will be the norm. So maybe those wonderful cents per point on each of your flights with flights booked with miles, you'll eke a little bit more cent per point out of each flight because, well, fuel charges are going to go up and they're going to stay up because that's how capitalism works now. So there's that. Would you try to book I've got a flight to Prague for me and my parents that I'm supposed to be booking in the not too distant future. The trip's supposed to be like end of September, beginning of October. I have to figure out what the flight path is going to be, how I want to do it, all of that jazz. So, have I booked it? No. I would like to get it booked at some point in the near future, but my family procrastinates. So, I don't think I'm going to be booking last minute, obviously, but I do think that it won't be as RJ timelined or Lonnie timelined as my co-hosts would book. But the best time is always to book now. Second best time is as soon as you possibly can. A secondary, so yeah, how early do I book flights to get the best deal? I worry about getting there first. I try to look for a good deal all around, but sometimes I'm not willing to pay more just to get it over with, but I would rather just try and get the best possible price that I can across the board. So Prague is going to be a fun one because there's no direct flights that I'm aware of on any of the major carriers, and I'm going to have to do some fun shopping around, whether it's flying into Frankfurt or flying into Charles de Gaulle, and then what?
Just go to Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Frankfurt.
Yeah.
One stop, Frankfurt.
Yep. Hopefully Lufthansa has something where Lufthansa City Express from Frankfurt to Prague would probably be the easiest way to do it. And I could use a certain set of miles that only transfer to Lufthansa.
So I did ask Gemini, JFK on Delta starting in May flies directly into Prague. Philly on American flies into Prague starting May 21st, and Newark on United also flies into Prague. So you actually have 3 U.S. airlines that fly into Prague.
Yeah, but then I got to go to Philly or Jersey, and I don't want to do that.
You can go to JFK.
Yeah, I could. I'll probably book through SAS.
I'm helping you out by telling you that you can get a direct flight now.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no, just be prepared for these fuel surcharges that are coming because they're not in place right now. They are going to go into place in the next 2 months, probably, because that's how usually supply works they buy fuel X amount of time out. They have to rebuy fuel or buy more fuel to supplement whether too many flights went over or whatever. You're not going to see it immediately, but as soon as it hits, you're going to start getting conditioned to that's going to be the price now. And that price will not come down, generally. So thanks, DiamondRyce. Our next question comes from JP. It is a little lengthy, so let's get through it. My wife rolls her eyes every time I ask a waiter to split the checks across 4 cards. But there's a method to the madness. $20 Amex Delta Reserve Resy credit, $50 Amex Gold Resy credit, $100 Amex Platinum Resy credit, and then the Rakuten card for 10x on whatever's left. I really hope that this Resy restaurant is also a rewards network restaurant, but we'll come back to that. She's been through it enough times that she just sighs and explains to her friends that this is exactly why we fly to Europe in business class and stay in hotels for free. So now her friends are coming to me for advice, and that puts me in a bit of a weird spot. Do I break the news that I'm kind of a crazy person, that this hobby basically requires you to love spreadsheets, and that if you're not actively tracking everything, it can actually cost you money? Or do I just tell them to get a Chase Sapphire Preferred and call it a day? What do you usually do? RJ, I'll start with you.
This is not why you fly free and stay in hotels for free, sir. Sorry. I read this question and I think I had a small aneurysm. And look, I get it. I do. But your $170 in Resy credit that you split on 4 cards is not why you're doing this for free. They're credits. They're not point accumulation. You've got maybe 300-400 points off of this meal other than the credits. There are ways that you can join all of those credits onto a gift card. And look, I am not the biggest fan of gift cards, but I am when you're making a server swipe 4 cards because you are close enough to a Resy restaurant to use them, but apparently far enough away that you won't use them organically throughout the quarter or year or month. You get the Delta one every month. So are you not using it any other month? And you only get the gold twice a year. So are you using it multiple times a year? And I get it. It's an example. But there are ways that you can not make the server's life harder and still have these cards make sense for you. And it drives me nuts when people are, but if I don't do it this way, I'm going to lose so much value. If the Resy credit is the reason that the Platinum makes sense for you, the Platinum doesn't make sense for you. It just doesn't. Get a green, get another card, get a Sapphire Reserve if that fits better. It drives me nuts. And no, it doesn't require a spreadsheet. It doesn't. We use spreadsheets because we're broken people. We're fundamentally a little bit crazy. And that's okay. I have made 4 apps on Claude to try to replace spreadsheets that I need to work on this week, actually. But the reason that we do this is because we're all a little bit obsessive. That's not the hobby. The hobby doesn't force you to do a lot of these things. We do it because that's our natural predilection, and it's just an expression of that. You can learn how to play guitar without becoming obsessive. If you're naturally inclined to become obsessive, you're going to become obsessive when you learn to play guitar. It's just an expression of how you do it. I know people who drum that go and they play drums and they have fun and then they're done with it. And I know people that will stand there with or sit there with the 2 drumsticks and have that paper that you hit and it makes a mark, and they will go for hours and do lines to get those perfectly parallel lines. It's the same hobby. One is just slightly more obsessive than the other. This I would put more towards sitting there for hours with the drumsticks, friend. And that's okay. Look, pot calling kettle black. I get it, but it is not required for this. Now, as far as your question about what you tell them, you kind of have to gauge, right? Are they somebody who should just get a 2X card, 2X everything card? Do they American? Because if you're telling them to get a Chase Sapphire Preferred and they fly American, that's not really going to help them. If you're a JetBlue fan, you've got a little bit more grace of where you can go. Don't tell them to go for Amex, right? Wells Fargo or somebody else, right? So there are ways, but you have to ask questions. You can't, unless it's a fidelity card, which is 2% everything, you really can't just have a one size fits all for everyone. You have to have some flexibility in your answer, even if you're going with a 1 card, more basic thing. But also, if you're giving them a 1 card basic thing, they're not going to be able to do what you do. So they're going to feel either you're lying or you're misleading them in somehow, because whatever card you give them, they're not going to be flying to Europe. So there's also that. But the us using multiple cards, I've seen more restaurants, they either charge you for using multiple cards or they just say no now, because people are running these shenanigans. And as somebody who has a lot of family who has been in the service industry, it sets my teeth on fire.
Fair. JP, I admire this particular setup just because, again, I'm curious about the Resy and rewards network aspect of things, but I understand that this is purely hypothetical, right? I think if your friends are asking advice, obviously you should tailor any card recommendations. One of the hard things about the content creation space, one of the ways that some folks will carve niches is doing consulting calls and things like that. And one of the biggest things about consulting calls will be how often do you travel? Which airlines do you prefer? If you have a preferred airline, do you have a preferred hotel chain? Do you have any inkling on how you prefer to travel? Would you prefer to sit in the back of the bus? Do you prefer to sit up front, all luxuried out with them pouring champagne from the moment you step on the airplane? Yes, turning left is great, but if turning left isn't your style yet, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try and tell someone to go after all of the points and not know how to use them properly. To the extent of potentially losing money, I wouldn't say that there's always a possibility of losing money. The $20 Amex Resy credit on the Delta Reserve monthly, that is a money pit. That is a trap, in my opinion. The quarterly on the Platinum, at least it's $100. It gets you a decent meal 4 times a year. That's fairly easy to track. It's not something to really lose too much track of. The $50 half a year on the Amex Gold, that is what it is. But there's restaurant credits on other cards as well. There's the Sapphire Reserve's $150 semi-annual credit, and trying to make that work for you on their 400 restaurants when they could have had 7,000 is what it is. But the advice that you give your friends would be to start small, work with cards that will work for them. The process of transferring to transfer partners is going to be a little intimidating at first. We all had that, oh, I have these points, but now I've got to transfer them. And what happens? How long before I know that they transfer properly? All of that. So you got to walk them through that process. Again, this is not meant to be an attack or anything like that, but or trying to dismiss your question. But the thing, if you're giving this advice to friends, is going to be tailor the advice to their preferences, right? Because what works for you is obviously not going to work for them. What works for RJ does not work for me. What works for Lonnie does not work for me, right? Lonnie's got his monthly $25 Bonvoy Brilliant credit. I have no interest in that $25 Bonvoy Brilliant credit. Doesn't make sense for me to go out and get the Bonvoy Brilliant just so that I can get that $25 credit. But if I want a good earning dining card, there's plenty of options. You've got the Amex Green, you've got the Amex Gold, you've got the City Strata Elite on Fridays and Saturday nights, whether or not you go to a restaurant. You've got the Chase Sapphire Reserve. What?
At high tide on Friday nights during high tide and a waning moon.
It becomes 8x after the fourth blood moon of the second series of the what? There's a goat sacrifice involved in there somewhere as well. It gets a little crazy with City. City took it to the extreme. If you don't want to worry about the 6x, it also earns 3x base on dining. There's 3x on the City Strata Premier. And I could keep listing off cards, and then RJ's going to have to edit this out. But tailor advice to, I don't want to say a lowest common denominator, but tailor advice to what is going to work best for the person in question. If this is somebody who wants to book relatively light premium economy and not so fancy hotels, the Chase setup can work perfectly fine for them. A City setup could work perfectly fine for them. If this is somebody who wants to go full bore, pedal to the metal, I need to sit in the front of the plane and I need to be at the Conrad, the Conrad every day of my vacation, full stop. Yeah, you're going to have to put some money through Amex, but you're going to have to put a lot of money through Amex. So be prepared to tell them that. If there are people if your friends or folks who has money as no object, boom, go Amex. If money's something of an object, or they don't know that they want to stay at the Conrad, or, oh geez, I'm blanking on the other ones, the LXR or the Waldorf Astoria or the JW or the Ritz-Carlton, if they don't think that they're going to stay at that level of property, they don't have to go Amex. They can survive on other setups. So when giving the advice, don't approach it how you will approach it. Meet them where they are and kind of go from there. Lonnie, any additional thoughts here?
Yeah, I also got to take a stab with RJ on, please don't split the bill across 4 cards. I think the limit is 2. I think that's a good 2. I understand it's a hypothetical and it's a little extreme, but I'm just saying, I'm sure somebody out there, maybe it's not across 4 Amex cards, but it's like, I got this credit and that dining credit and this 2 cards, folks. Let's be citizens of the world here. Some people might have had a bad day before you showed up and you just made it worse. They might have had a good day and you just ruined it.
If you are going to go this route, hip heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't play this route and be a member of the r/ of the subreddit and tipping.
Yeah, but if you're tipping that heavily and then you just ate into the credit that you're saying is the reason it...
Also, if you're going to do multiple cards, in kind. But in kind works best with a group dining. I tried it for the first time this past weekend. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, but I still get it. Amex Resy, Amex Platinum Resy, twice a year. Twice a year I'll split between 2. But that one time where I get the 100 on my Platinum, no matter what's left, everything just goes on the Platinum. I'm not going to go, that's just me though. Because I kind of just want to leave and I don't want to piss off my server. That's just me though. But when it comes to friends that ask for advice, now this is probably one of the biggest negatives, especially one about being in professional, whatever your level is. We'll just call you professional if you're watching this episode at the moment, because you either already do it at some level or you're trying to learn more. So we're going to call us, at minimum, we're all professionals. So if you're if you're a professional with the credit card game to an extent where other people have noticed and are asking you for advice, that's one thing. When you're a content creator, the three of us, it becomes exacerbatedly worse. But you have to tell your friends the truth from the get up. Yeah, I travel in points and miles. I've been doing it for years. It's not easy. It's not a one size fits all. It's not, oh, if you go to this website, it'll walk you through step by step on how you do this. No. And this is honestly how I handle it. If it's a friend or a colleague or a next door neighbor that asks me, hey, I want to get started. Even if it's just for one trip, I already got a couple of cards. I got enough points. Can you just make sure you tell me how to do it? There's 3 questions. If you can't answer these 3 questions, I'm instantly out. Where are you going? When are you trying to go? And how do you want to get there? If you can't answer those off the top of your head, I can't help you. I'm not even going to attempt to help you, because it's just going to go down a rabbit hole of hypotheticals and all this extra stuff of, well, what if I did this? Or what if if you know what you're doing, then what are you asking me for? Quit wasting my time. That's literally how I handle the situation. So where are you trying to go? Trying to go to Italy. When are you trying to go? Trying to go this fall. How do you want to get there? I want to fly United or I want to fly Delta. Cool. I need that to work with. Just that. And the thing is in most cases, when friends or colleagues, associates, whatever, come to you, they want the whole picture of how you do what you do. And it's impossible to answer that question. I can't even tell you the whole picture of how I do what I do, because I do it differently for every single trip. So I might say, oh, this is how I did this one, but my next trip this is how I did that one. And it's not the same. I booked them completely different ways, different points, different currencies, different travel portals, different, hotel chains. We know it's the same airline. So yeah, you got to meet them at their level, but they have to understand that it's not a one size fits all. It's really a one-off every single time.
Yeah. But again, I understand your approach with the dining. Just tip heavy on those days.
I'm not angry.
2 cards.
Just disappointed.
2 cards max. Do it for me. 2 cards max.
That's fair. All right. Our next question comes from Margraf21, who asks, pick one feature from each of the top tier transferable currency cards to create your own ultimate high-end card. They have given us the Platinum, the CSR, the City Strata Elite, the Venture X, and the Bilt Palladium. And one feature from from one co-brand card of your choice. So you can add a feature from a co-brand card to this ultimate high-end card. We're going to say that that annual fee is no object, but obviously what we're creating here is, the MasterCard. And I don't mean MasterCard. I mean the Master card. Lonnie, this is what you've always dreamed of. I'll throw it to you first.
Oh, this is the dog chasing the car for me. I don't know what to do if I actually got it. And so now here we are. I got the question. I don't even know how I'm going to answer it. But the first thing I want to do is kick off those 3 cards that I don't have. So we're going to start off with Platinum and CSR. I want the benefits and the insurances and the premium rental car insurance from my Platinum. And I want the bonus categories from my CSR. Not even the $300 travel credit. I can work around that. It's only $300. I can get that back. But them bonus categories that I don't have on the Platinum actually might come in handy. But then if I had to choose a co-branded card, and now I'm going to be a little antsy on this one, but I'm going to say 3x everything from the Hilton Aspire card. And yes, I said 3x everything. I know it's 3x Hilton points, but this is my card. And it's a 3x everything card for everything else.
No, RJ.
So I am going to keep FHR and the hotel collection on the Platinum. I am going to use cities multiplier for the portal, but in Amex. So 12x on hotels, cars, and attractions, and then 6x for air travel. So that's just going to go. The Platinum is the base card if you haven't figured that out. I am going to use the I'm going to use the travel credit from the CSR. So the $300 travel credit. That's going there. From the Venture X, I'm going to use Priority Pass, I guess. I don't know. It's on all of the cards. I can't think of anything from Venture X. And from the Palladium, I'm going to use not a goddamn thing.
Oh, you don't want point accelerator?
No, I don't want any. I have the card and I don't want anything from the card. I am angry at Bilt right now.
So what lake or canal or reservoir is the card sitting at the bottom of right now?
Right now it's in my sock drawer, which is a accordion style wallet in my office. When I get to cancel that card, I am going to go into the Adirondacks and I am going to go to where the Hudson River forms, because that is in the Adirondacks, and I am going to throw it in.
Maybe it travels all the way down.
Maybe it travels down to New York City, but I am in fact going to take it to where the Hudson forms, and I am going to throw it in.
See, I was going with the other big river right by you.
The Mohawk?
I was going to say the St. Lawrence.
The St. Lawrence is nowhere near me.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, in the fact that I live in the Northeast, yes, but not. I am not really near the.
I was just
Lake
going with you.
here in the clouds is where the Hudson forms.
No. All right. So one feature from each of the top tier transferable currency cards to create your own ultimate high-end credit card. All right. So we're going to talk from the Platinum. I'll take the Platinum's travel assurances, protections, just the Platinum suite of protections. I'll throw in the extra $50 for the car rental from the time that I need it. And I'll pay per year just in case. From the Sapphire Reserve, I'll take the Sapphire Reserve's multipliers for sure. From the City Strata Elite, give me that silly weekend dining nonsense. I'll slap that in there. From the Venture
City
X.
Nights is genius. I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's genius.
I don't flimsy marketing.
It's not flimsy. It's brilliant.
Oh, the Amex Bonvoy is brilliant.
I'm going to have to use that as the title now, honey. I hope you understand.
Look, City Nights is going to get shut down relatively soon with the way it's getting abused. From the Venture X, geez, I don't know. I guess it's in Portal coupon? No, I take that back. I'll take the free 10,000 points a year. I'll take that. And from the Palladium, I will take its point accelerator feature on every $5,000 in spend. I'm not paying for it, but I'm going to take that and just make that a thing. Every $5,000 in spend, you get 1x on all your, where I've made weekend dining 7x. That I'll just blow through on DoorDash and kill it. And a feature from a co-branded card, free check bags for me and 8 other passengers on my itinerary.
If you buy first class, you get checked bags for free anyway.
I don't always turn left. I turn this podcast left, I'll tell you that much.
Here's the funny part. I am out of a regional airport, so I often don't turn left either.
Well, you also the CRJ.
I do the CRJ. I am a CRJ 900 lover.
I'm reminded why Canada is a reason why we have the Geneva Conventions. Every time I see a CRJ.
Turning left just feels kind of different.
It is a nice feeling.
It's just it's one of those things you just never get used to. It just every time you turn left, it just feels better.
I take that somewhere, but I'm not going to today. Not going to. But yep. All right. Thanks, Margraf. Our next question comes from Ron, who asks, what setup would you recommend for a travel sports family? The team mom books blocks of rooms at a local Hilton property for a discounted rate. Games are normally 1 to 5 hours from home and 1 to 2 night stays. The season is roughly from March through July. So we have a traveling sports team booking a block of rooms at a discounted rate, about 1 to 5 hours away. That's fine. 1 to 2 night stays from March through July. So that's about a 5-month time frame and a number of rooms. So what setup would you recommend for this travel sports family? RJ, I'll start with you.
I think my answer is going to surprise you, Matt.
Your own.
Autograph journey. You get 5x on hotels. You get 3x on restaurants. You can go to the autograph too if you want gas. But I don't know what those hand signals mean.
Do both.
Yes, you can do both because one is free. So there you go. But I would do autograph journey, $95, add the autograph, and then you get gas stations, transit, streaming services because you're going to be streaming in the hotel after games. So you're going to want to pay for that. I would do that because, so I thought about saying the Surpass, but if you ever don't book a Hilton, if for some reason that town, the Hilton books out and you're at a Marriott, suddenly that Hilton card is much less valuable. With this, you're able to have that flexibility. And for $95, you're getting 5x on hotels. Even if that turns into 5% back instead of points for anything with Wells, you're still good. But yeah, I would do autograph journey, autograph combo. That covers a lot of your categories. And you're getting the $50 credit for an airline if you ever have to fly somewhere, because maybe they make a semifinal or they make a final or whatever, and you got to fly somewhere. So you have that in your back pocket. But those cards I think are easy for something like this, in a way that, look, I love Amex, but I'm not going to go there for something like this.
Okay. Lonnie, how would you approach it?
Well, the one thing Ron left out was how many rooms, and are you as for the blocks, is Team Mom putting them on her card and getting paid back, or is it just the block and everybody's going a la carte with the discount? Now, you specifically said Hilton, gotta go Hilton. And the reason why I'm asking the question the way that asking the extra parts of the question the way that I had asked it is because if you're getting all that money and then they're going to Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, whatever you back, man, you better clean up and get all them points, all of them, every single one of them, leave nothing on the table, period, in my opinion. And if you did that with the Aspire, you're getting 14 on a bad day. You're getting 14 Hilton points per dollar across all those rooms, and then everything you're getting reimbursed doesn't come out of your bank account. So you're literally cleaning up. And then that's just getting you closer and closer and closer to another free night certificate that you can use for yourself at any time later. Minus the fact you're booking at Hilton. Now, granted, he did say local, so they're probably not super special where having that diamond status is really going to, an upgrade is just means a higher floor is what I'm saying, or a corner room versus a suite, if you will. But when you do want to take that larger trip for yourselves, you got that in your back pocket, and the rest of the team families have literally supported and have made that happen for you. I would call that the cost of being the banker in this case. You're the one that's doing all the booking and you're putting all the risk on your credit card, hoping everybody pays you back in time. Let's just say everything goes as normal. Because you are the one doing that work, your reward is all those points and the statuses and all the rewards that you get. So cost of being the banker, if you will. I say do that. Now, I also agree with RJ. If you didn't specifically say Hilton, I would 100% lean in with RJ and get a more universal travel card that gives you a flat rate across all travel or specific hotel. If you're going to do one card, if not, if it's Hilton and Marriott, then get a Hilton and a Marriott. But now we're getting into which Hilton, which one of the 4 or 5, if you want the business Marriott, the Chase side, screw all that. Because you said Hilton, Ron, go get you a Hilton. Surpass. Actually, it doesn't matter which one you get, because I've always said the Surpass and the Honors are basically the same card, except for 1 point and 1 bonus category. And the annual fee, that's basically the only difference. And $15K for a free night certificate. But that's literally the only difference. So you can get any Hilton card, $0 annual fee, $550 annual fee, does not matter. But get a Hilton card.
I started off the same. Since this is a traveling sports team, I am Well, depending on if you guys sit on the board of the league. Well, I'm gonna go. That's a little too technical. I would say Hilton.
So
Yep.
Ron did put in the thing. He's buying 1 or 2 rooms.
Yep.
You asked to follow up, Matt, and then he's doing 1 to 2 rooms. So he's not the person buying the block. He's buying, I think how this usually works in sports leagues is you reserve rooms and then the parents go in and buy X number of rooms. So he's booking 1 or 2 on his own.
Yeah, if it's you yourself, the family booking 1 or 2 night stays as part of that block, grab a Hilton card just so that you got the reserved rate. You buy at that rate. You've got your Hilton card. You've got all of the pieces that come with it. Surpass in this case would be more than sufficient. If you are the travel mom or you are the family in charge of the bookings, putting together that big discounted rate with Hilton, get the Hilton business card. 30x, at least 30x on Hilton for that, 5x on all other incidentals relating to team travel. You're going to have gold status to start. That's going to be plenty at some of the smaller chains across the property line. It's not like you're going to be booking the LXR or the Waldorf anytime soon for team travel. Although who knows, Lonnie Bougie may be the team Bougie as well. I can't guarantee that. But if you're doing Hampton Inns, Hilton Garden Inns, Homewood Suites, things, hotels like that, and you're buying these blocks, Hilton Business would be plenty. You're going to get 30x with the gold status, since this is going to be for at least 4 weekends a month. So that's 2 nights, 8 nights a month for 4 months. You're looking at least 32 bookings, and that's just one set. That is before the rest of the team. And depending on the size of the team, whether it's family or parents, you could be doing sports travel team. A baseball team is usually about 15, give or take. A hockey team would be about 15, 20. Soccer team is usually about 15. Basketball team would be about 10 to 12. So you have that many rooms at least, times 2 nights, times 32 stays, because it's 4 months. Sorry, not 32. 4 times 4, 16. You're on cash stays, you'll actually come close to spending toward diamond status on that Hilton business card. I don't think you're going to hit diamond status necessarily with the 40,000 in spend, but you will get really dang close. Your other play would be the surpass, hit the 15K, get close to the 40K for good diamond status as well, have everyone reimburse you, go from there. And that would also cover gas and things like that. Yeah.
Diamond Reserve is 18.
Diamond Reserve also requires 80 nights a year.
Yeah, but if you're doing that many nights, just those months, you probably can get pretty close. It gives you the spend, which is the hard part.
The bookings actually would get you those nights on your account. They don't get anything really for.
Now, to be fair, he did not say he's team mom, and I don't know how willing team mom would be to give up being team mom. That's a whole separate thing. Sure. I think he was more asking for himself than for us to elect him team mom.
Sure. If you're the family not arranging for all of the travel, grab a surpass just to buy in at the discounted rate. You'll get your gold recognized, I think, and that should be fine. But if you're prepaying for all the rooms and you're the team mom, if you're the traveling arranging family wants to book all the rooms, make all the reservations, book all the rooms, prepay, get all the points, get all the nights, get all the money, get all the things, right?
That's hella point, y'all.
Yeah.
That's hella point. That's what I would do. I would pay it with I can cancel within my 72 hours before arriving if you don't pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will cancel your room if you don't pay me. But yeah, send me back my money and rack up all the coin and all the rewards.
Yeah. If you can get it close,
you could be getting
that would get
70,000 a weekend. You could be getting 70,000 points a weekend with
that's a free sign up bonus right there.
Yeah. So yeah, team family should seriously consider pre-booking everything, prepaying everything, racking up all of the points, and you get close to Diamond Reserve, if all of the nights that everyone does count toward you, you're going to rack up those 80 nights real quick. You'll hit the 18,000 and spend relatively quickly, because each weekend with 10, if it's 10 rooms per weekend, that's at least, even at $150 a night, that's $1,500 a weekend times 16 weekends. Yeah, you'll come close to that 18K in pure spend. So you won't necessarily spend 2 diamond, but you'll end up getting Diamond Reserve relatively quickly. And then you can just spend the rest of the year just enjoying Diamond Reserve for whatever that gives you. So a Hilton card would probably be the best route, whether it be the Surpass, which you would pick up a free night award, almost guaranteed. The business, if you wanted to maximize your points on the rest of your spend for that weekend. The Aspire, maybe. I don't think you're going to hit the 30 or the 60K doing that, even with playoffs and stuff that. But if you can hit the 18,000 and spend Diamond Reserve and you get all those nights, that should theoretically work.
Yeah, to get you closer to the 30K.
I'll get you pretty close. Yeah, so I think any of those 3 cards could work. If you want to give yourself more flexibility, obviously a Sapphire Reserve for Business or a Sapphire Reserve or a Autograph Journey would certainly work as well. And the only reason why I said Sapphire Reserve for Business would be something like this would theoretically be a business expense. But again, I don't know necessarily if you are sitting on the board of the league and it's the league funds building for things like that.
I've been doing sports my entire life, and I have never heard of parents picking out rooms for their team and counting it as a business expense. But maybe down in your neck of the woods, people lie on their taxes, Matt.
Have you seen where I live? Of course, people lied on their taxes at certain points. That wealth is generated in this country. Anyway, thanks, Ron. Let's move over to our next question. Our last question comes from AP, who says, have you ever done any travel related to paranormal stuff, like legends, ghost stories, Alcatraz type stuff, Salem witch trials, small mining towns, etc.? If so, where? What did you really enjoy? I'll kick off on this. When we traveling to Charleston and Savannah in South Carolina and Georgia, specifically, they have ghost tours in both cities. Definitely do those. I've done ghost tours. I think I've also done ghost tours in Boston. Don't remember if I have. I feel like I have. I've done ghost tours somewhere else. But the ones I definitely remember are the ones in Charleston and Savannah. And those are pretty fun. Yeah, they're just a nice experience. Like, you start late at night. It's a nice way to have a family outing in the evening. RJ.
Yes, I've done a haunted tour in New Orleans. I was there for a thing in college. We stayed at a former funeral home, and the actual hotel did their own tour, which was really cool. They took you down into the basement where the embalming used to happen. So that was very fun. I have done different tours locally that they turn off all the lights and you walk around with flashlights to see if you can feel anything. They take you to jail cells and different things like that. And I have gone to Lizzie Borden's house in Massachusetts, and I did that tour. And it's not specifically a ghost tour, but they definitely talk about hearing things in the attic and things being moved and different things like that. So I would put it in the same sort of realm. I am not the hugest fan of horror and scary things. I like the daytime tours a lot more than the nighttime tours, if I'm being completely honest. But I do enjoy at least the history aspect. I do want to go to Salem more for the history than just for the spooky stuff, but I do enjoy the stuff.
More weight.
Yep. Because he wouldn't put a plea in. And in English common law, you can't do that.
Well, he was also chuckling at his wife when she was hanged. So anyway, Alani.
I've done the Haunted Mansion at Disney World.
It's a ride, sir.
It's my favorite ride, actually. Anyway.
Yes, I've done Tower of Terror, too.
Actually, I don't that one. I don't that 0G feeling in my gut as it drops. but my son does, so now I got to get on it again. But anyway, the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. That was pretty cool. I've been to Alcatraz, which I don't necessarily think is haunted, but I've been there. You put it in the question, so I have done it, but I don't think it's haunted. At least I didn't feel it was haunted. I don't remember anyone talking about it being haunted. But anyway, still pretty cool to go see. So if you're ever in the San Francisco, go check it out. But I've done the haunted tour in New Orleans before, the ghost tour. I think that's about it. I haven't really done a lot of haunted stuff.
I wasn't in Nolans long enough to do the ghost tour, but I would have done the ghost tour if we'd stayed longer. We just had to go out on the bayou.
Red beans and rice in New Orleans is one of my favorite food memories.
There you go.
It's pretty good.
Thanks, AP. Thanks to everyone who asked questions. Brief news roundup, something that came across on Reddit. And yeah, I know Reddit's not always the source of truth for these things, but someone noticed that their foreign transactions were converted to be paying a little bit more than otherwise thought. And so it appears that just check your Bilt foreign transactions. Apparently they might be off by about 0.2%. End of the world? No, not necessarily. But when you have a no foreign transaction fee card and you're still paying about 0.2% more than you should, it's not great. Any thoughts on this?
Not surprised. Not surprised to say no foreign transaction fees. A little bit for transaction.
I just
0.2%? Did you think people wouldn't notice?
Yeah. I think they believe that people wouldn't notice.
Is this on them? Is this on Cardless? Is this on Column? Is this on MasterCard's conversion rate? Did they get charged in US dollars instead of the currency of note?
Doesn't matter. Who the fall guy is Bilt.
But they can do no wrong, sir.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You said no foreign transaction fees, and even at 0.2%, that's still that's a transaction fee. Yes. And I can't tell you where no foreign where the 2% terminology is, which means we're not even going to go down that path.
$2. Yeah. $2 on $1,000 to spend, still not great. I want my $2. Ooh, I want my $2.
The thing is, it doesn't matter if it's 2%. It doesn't matter if it's 20%. If you say there's no foreign transaction fees, there damn better not be any foreign transaction fees.
Well, seeing that this was handled on Reddit, was posted on Reddit, I'm sure that it will be only handled in the most white-gloved and professional way possible.
Reddit is Bilt's professional PR firm. Of course it was handled on Reddit.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens from there. It can only blow up badly, but what hasn't? So yeah, there's that from Bilt, potentially. We'll be monitoring it. We'll be monitoring it. Next up, Rove. Disclaimer, I moderate a Facebook group for Rove. It's called the Travel Deals with Rove Facebook group. I get compensated miles for doing so every month. Rove has launched SAS as a transfer partner. SAS is Scandinavian Airlines. They are a SkyTeam airline now. They were bought into by KLM Flying Blue in 2024. That was made official. They switched from Star Alliance to SkyTeam in 2024, 2025, and now they are officially SkyTeam. Big part here, you can find domestic Delta One for 70,000 miles, which is cool, round trip. So 35,000 miles a leg. If you don't want to do Delta One, you can do round trip economy with no fuel surcharges on Delta at 25,000 miles total. So SAS, now a transfer partner with Rove, 1-to-1. There's a 20% transfer bonus until April 8th. So if you're listening to this after April 8th in 2026, hi, welcome from the past. And I'm sorry that you missed that transfer bonus. It is Rove's 15th transfer partner. They added their 14th partner last week with JAL, Japan Airlines, and they're running a 50% transfer bonus on that through the end of March. Y'all have any thoughts here?
More transfer partner good. That's about all I got here.
Yeah. Hey, Chase, maybe you should add more transfer partners than just Wyndham lately. Apparently, Scandinavia is all for the taking. Lonnie, I'll come back to you when Rove launches United.
Yeah.
Because it may happen.
Yeah, call me when that happens. Until then, don't really care. Now that I got anything with Rove, they just don't fit into my wallet. Yet. I said yet.
That's fair.
I said yet.
And now, on to topics.
All right, let's jump into our topics, and I'll start with you this week.
So, at what point does chasing a 5% or 3 or whatever niche category become a game of diminishing returns? I don't typically use gas, right? I drive an EV, I charge at home. Most of my driving is local enough where I'm not having to charge on the road. I do have access to a gas vehicle. I do use it occasionally, not much. So I don't really care about gas, right? I have the gold business for another couple of months, so I do have a way to get extra rewards on gas, but it's not something that takes up a lot of my brain. Do you have a point of which you start accounting for that category? Are there categories you have just been, no, I am not putting brain space to this? How do you sort of handle those more niche categories? They're not dining, they're not grocery, they're not sort of travel related. Lonnie, I'm going to start with you.
So I see where you're going here. And yeah, 5% sounds great. It's a high amount, especially with it within the reward side or the bonus category side, i.e. cashback side of any particular card. But it's only worth something if you're putting something in. There's an input and an output. If I'm only spending $10 a month on a 5% back category, now I literally could get more value putting it on a 4 or 3x category on another card. That math does not math the way that I said that. But you understand what I mean. I can find more value somewhere else than just saving that little 5% one time. Now, if I was able to save that 5% on a category, that 5% was on a category that I use every single day or on my larger purchases. Let's just say you got 5% cash back on your roof, your rent, or your mortgage. Then heck yeah, that's worth it. I know I'm really stretching that right there, but I'm just saying that would be 100% worth it. If I can get 5% back on childcare, F yeah, right? But even the 4x back on the Amex Gold card on grocery, yes, it's great. One, because I go to the grocery store once a week. But there's times where right now I'm using a different card for grocery because I have a promotion on a different card. I haven't touched my Amex Gold card in almost 2 months now because of specifically that, where I can get more value or better value or differentiated value from somewhere else. So is it a game of diminishing returns? Not necessarily. 5% is 5% no matter how you do that math. But if you're only getting 5% on no more than $50 a month, then yeah, you're not really, great. You got your 5% back on your $50 that month. But outside of that, it's just, could I have done something else or somewhere else? More importantly, not even could I have done something else somewhere else. If you got that 5% on a brand new card, you went and hit an apply button for something else, and you're only spending $50 a month on that card for that 5%, you shouldn't even apply it because you're not putting enough in to get enough out, if you will.
Yeah, I tend to be in the same vein. Matt, are you in the same vein? Are you thinking different? How do you sort of take a look at categories?
For me, with the 5%, the problem with the 5% niche is it is typically capped, right? And it is a question of how workable is the cap. On something like chasing cash, I could go up to $25,000 a year in spending. The card only has my in cash does not have a $25,000 limit, so I can't pursue that all in one shot. I do think that there are places where 5% can be a little bit easier to finagle for yourself. That sort of cap is easier to work with. Something a $1,500 a limit, it's $75 at the end of the day, or 7,500 points. And if 7,500 points is going to make or break your vacation next year, sure, go after it. But I think the diminishing returns is when you have to convince yourself with a relatively small cap that you've got to get multiples of this card to fill that cap whenever possible, right? not specifically a custom cash, but if you have multiple freedoms, right? You have the freedom and you have the freedom flex. Now I've got $3,000 in total spend. Okay. Do you really though?
So I'm not, my question is not so much about the 5%. I just sort of threw that in there. It's more about the niche categories and higher multipliers, right? If you have a 2x base,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5% sounds great. It's higher than 2, right? If I'm buying gas, if I buy 1 tank of gas every 6 months,
Yeah,
do I
that 5%
really need to
doesn't
account
matter.
for, do I really need to account for gas?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Most of that ended up getting silent for me because my internet hates me. So in that case, the niche category, I think the niche category is only worth it if you have significant spend in that category. Lonnie mentioned childcare. If there's a 5% childcare card out there that's a unicorn, Lonnie's going to throw all his money at it. I'm going to throw all my money at it, right?
I'm hitting the Platinum Resy. Send me a referral link.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But if it's a category that doesn't really work for you, right? 5% home improvement, right? I don't spend my weekends at Home Depot. I don't spend my weekends going to Lowe's and buying a project for whatever. That's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not who I'm going to be. I'm not mulching the yards. I don't care. I'm not mulching, right? So a 5% home improvement category doesn't do jack for me. And no, I'm not going to invest in that 5% home improvement category to go buy a gift card there. I have a life. But a 5% gas category is more important to me because I do spend a bit a month on gas between me and my partner. A 5% dining category is going to be more important to me because, well, we'll eat out from time to time. A 5% everyday category is more interesting to me to maximize than 5% home improvement or gym. 5% on gym sounds great in theory, but if you pay your gym bill once a year or you pay your gym bill quarterly, it's not nearly enough spend to justify the 5%. You'll want it up front, which sounds great, and then you spend it, and then you're not spending it for the rest of the year. You're not spending it for the rest of the quarter, and there it goes. So the bigger the expense to your everyday, the more game changing it is for you, the more brain space you should dedicate to it. If you fill your car up every quarter, it doesn't make sense to get a 5% gas card. If you only go out to eat once a quarter, you shouldn't worry about a 5% dining card. You should worry more about a 5% grocery category if you're buying your food and cooking it that way. Although most likely you'd be buying in bulk, which wholesale, and then you're out of your SOL. So chasing the 5% dragon feels great in theory, and then in practice, you're chasing that dragon again. And again, you ain't catching that dragon.
You are not catching the dragon. But yeah, I see a lot of people who are 5x everything or 5% everything, and I get it. But if you're spending less than, I think, probably $100 a month on a thing, just put it on a 2 or a 3 if you can. You don't really need the 5. But thank you both. Matt, back to you.
Thank you. Apologies on not nearly getting that because my internet was picking up the wrong Wi-Fi, and I don't know why, but I'm plugged into Ethernet. Anyway, I hate it live. Lonnie, your topic this week.
So my topic this week is one of the common things we hear or you hear of people do within this credit card gamification of a thing that we do called life is the churn aspect. We get our sign-up bonuses, we cancel, we product change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But let's flip the script. What if the banks did that? Instead of refreshing cards, should the banks just cancel and create new cards instead? That way we end up in a CSR fiasco of this is what I've been used to for X amount of years, and now they refreshed it to this whole new card. And it's no longer the same card. Should they just cancel it and then just say, instead of Sapphire, we're now at, I'm just going to use Emerald because I know that used to swirl around. Now we're at Emerald. So now the Chase Emerald Reserve. Just make a whole new card. Matt, what do you think?
I am always I'd be for the banks just refreshing and canceling a card, creating a new card. One, it would be great for me for content. Two, it would be hilarious to watch some of these folks with super high velocity trying to get the new shiny and being denied for it. That would just be a little bit of schadenfreude for me. But instead of refreshing, I do think that canceling a card every year, because then you could actually map out what the good years in the economy were and what the real bad years were. So you have a card that was 5% on a whole bunch of everyday categories because things were great and people were spending money. And then it went down to 1.5% everything the next year. And then it came back out the next year and it was 3x across the board on a bunch of things and a base of 1.5. So things were back to normal. And then depression and 0.5 point per dollar across the board. That would be an interesting anthropological study across the board of how credit card changes every year reflected a bouncing economy. That would be interesting. But otherwise, I think most folks would want to have the predictability of what lasts the longest. So it would be fun for me. I don't know how many other people it would be fun for.
I just think it would be smoother than refreshing. And then we're like, this is 1.0 and 2.0. Not talking about Bilt. I'm just saying, this is how it was at the end of early 2025. And this is how it is. No, that was that card. No longer available. If you got it, you get to keep it, but no longer available. Get a new card. RJ, your thoughts?
I go back and forth because on one hand, I get what you're saying, right? Like, if you're going to fundamentally change a card, like the old CSR and the new CSR are fundamentally different cards, right? Like the idea of, all right, we're going to grandfather those who have it in, but here it is, right? Like I've said this before, my stepdad has the old gold card from Amex. That card is 2x on dining and I think just dining, not grocery, 1x everything else. It's $95. You can't get it. You can't even transfer yourself to it, right? He's still got it. It's chugging along. That is not the gold card I have, right? Like those are fundamentally different cards. They're both called Amex Gold cards though. So like that is sort of what you're saying of, you cannot apply for that card anymore because there is a new gold one. I think we would start to see the adjustments instead of refreshes, right? They would modify. It would become the card of Theseus. One year they would tweak this. The next year they would tweak this a little bit. The third year they'd tweak it, but it's not a refresh. We're not canceling the card, guys. It's not a refresh. And it would be every 5th or 6th year that they would do something big enough where it would hit this threshold. I don't think you could say it has to remain completely static because then I think there would be too much turnover. I love Matt's idea from an anthropological standpoint, but it would not work at all in practice, right? A, it would just be a mess. B, they would have to hire 40 billion more people to do service and billing and all of that. It would be a mess.
Just vibe code your customer service.
Yeah, that works so well.
Company's got a $10 billion valuation.
I don't think you could change it 0%. I think they would try to push that line of how much you can change it and tweak it to the point where they're basically spending 4 or 5 years tweaking and then doing a cancel reset and then tweaking for 4 or 5 years. And then, so I don't know if it could happen the way that you're describing because banks are conservative, small c conservative by their nature because they are loaning you money essentially. So yeah, I love the idea of it from sort of this is the card. If you want a different card, wait. If you have the card and you can keep it. I like that. I agree that if a card refreshes, you should be able to opt out. I think that would be cool of just the CSR refreshes and you can hit a button that says, no, I'd like to keep the other one. Thanks. And you get to that. I the idea of, but I don't think this could happen in a way that is structurally sound.
Yep. There's gives and takes on both sides of it. Definitely understand and see where you're coming from. You get 2 extra points for bringing up Theseus. It's one of my favorite stories.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. That and Sisyphus. 2 of my favorite stories. Go look them up, y'all.
I don't think I could work Sisyphus in, but I'm glad I could do Theseus.
Sisyphus would be Bilt.
Yeah.
What? No, come on. They'll just vibe code their way out of it. It's fine.
You can't
Everything's
vibe.
fine there.
No, it's forever. You can't
They're
vibe. You can't vibe code out of forever.
they're fine. What are we talking about? Everything there is fine. It's peachy.
And then the boulder rolls back down the hill.
Problem is they caught the dragon.
You never catch the dragon.
Well, Real Housewives. Anyway,
That's what happens when you catch the dragon, then you don't want to catch the dragon. You caught 0.2% of the dragon.
here's a new title. I wish that whenever we hit the title in the show, I wish we had the ability to add the Marco Bing.
We both have that ability, and I do not have the desire.
It's fair. All right. For our last topic, it was my topic from last week that I didn't get around to because, well, my internet died. I was a lot more down last week than I am this week. I went to the Rove meetup in New York City, learned a bunch of stuff about Rove on the back end that is potentially super exciting, but it's not ready for prime time yet. But I did do a video about SAS, so go check that out on my channel. But my topic last week, and still feeling it this week, is what's something making y'all happy in the points and miles or travel space right now? The rest of the world is depressing, and I'm not feeling great about points and miles in general, aside from Rove. So what's bringing y'all joy in this space? RJ.
The fact that I can take vacations with my parents and we walk into an Amex lounge or a Delta lounge and they look at my stepfather, he is the person with the card. And in fact, I am the person with the card. And that brings me so very much joy. I don't know if it's petty, but there is something that I do really enjoy, being the person that is the architect to the family trips. And everybody assumes that it is my stepfather or my mom. And we go, and they're, oh, no, it's her. And they're, oh, okay. And then they talk to me and I get everybody sorted out. It happens when we check into hotels. We're going down to DC. We'll be going to check in. I will be the person checking us in. And as we walk up, they will be introducing themselves to my stepfather because they will assume he is the person that booked the trips and the rooms. So I just find it fun. The fact that they are amused by it helps too. But being somebody who is able to do this brings me a little bit of joy. It is very fun, and we have a good time on vacation.
There you go.
Just the little things, Matt.
That's fair. That's fair. Last week was a down week. Bonnie, what's bringing you joy at the moment?
Before I get to what brings me joy, RJ, when you are booking your travel and trips, now lounge is different in Amex Lounge, but a hotel part, do you book with your true name or do you book with RJ? Because RJ it's like Sam. It could be male or female in origin. So if you're just booking as RJ, is this why they're going up to your stepfather? Because RJ.
No, it has my legal name, and my legal name is very feminine.
Well, I know your legal name is incredibly no question there.
No, I think it's because when we walk up, they just see me, who is younger, and then my parents. So sort of the default when you're in that configuration is to look at the oldest male in the group, just from a psychological perspective of who would have the money, especially
Normally,
we're going to the Intercontinental. We've stayed at a lot of Intercontinentals lately in Boston and whatever. So it's just their psychology is look for the person they think has the money and he fits the bill. And I'm the one, oh no, in fact, it is my IHG Premier card. This event is going on. And they're like, oh, okay. They're always super nice, but it is very funny to me every time it happens.
Yeah. Just asking.
Yeah.
What makes me happy? So what makes me happy about points and miles is how far I've been able to go. If you've watched my personal channel, then you've known that I come from a traveling family, but I also come from a big traveling family of 6. So mom, dad, and 4 kids. I'm the youngest out of 4. So I'm the youngest in my direct family. When we used to travel, we didn't get Waldorf Conrad Intercontinental level hotels. So when I tell you that I used to sit in the back, I've sat in the back of the bus middle seat next to the bathrooms. I've done that between 2 older siblings, usually, or next to mom or dad. I've honestly done that. And now that I'm obviously much older. I now have a family of my own. To be able to continue to make travel, to normalize travel, especially for my son, brings me joy. The fact that we get to go places that I've been before and places that I've never been before, and to experience the world through his eyes brings me a whole lot of joy. Now, at the same time, I've kind of ruined it for him because he'll never have to sit in the back of the bus middle seat next to the bathroom.
Just have him
Where
travel with Josh. Just have him go on a trip with Josh so he understands.
we go to a hotel that's only a room, a studio room. Are you mad at me? Are we getting punished? He doesn't actually say that, but you see what I'm getting at? But on the positive side, travel is so normalized for him. I think I had mentioned it last week where he's, Dad, can we go back to Hawaii? Can we go to, he might not be able to find Hawaii on a map at his age, but he knows what Hawaii is. We get on an airplane, we go to Hawaii. He knows that airport. He knows today we were watching TV right before we did the bath and bedtime, and there was a beach. You know, I want to go to the beach, not to a beach. I want to go to that beach. You know, he's like, that specific beach that I see on TV. And he realizes that that's possible. He'll see a location on TV and we'll go there, and he realizes we can go specifically to that location. It's not going to a beach, it's going to that beach. It's not going to a specific area, it's going to that area. And because of his age, for any of y'all that have kids, then you might know who Blippy is. Matt probably knows who Blippy is. But his playlist of choice on the drive to school in the morning usually consists of Blippy.
Nope. Nope.
No. I have 17, 18 speakers in my SUV. Pretty good sounds. I wasted on Blip.
I've got blip TSD, okay?
But my point is, Blippy has a song called the Theme Park Song. It's actually pretty catchy if you have to listen to it twice a day.
Nope. I'm living life right now with Pink Panther's Stateside stuck in my head. I don't want Blippy in my head at all, so I can live with that.
But my point is we were listening to this. Was it this morning or yesterday morning? No, today, because today's Monday. He didn't go to school yesterday. And he goes, hey, we went to a theme park. Yeah, we've been to a lot of theme parks. I want to go back to a theme park. Can we do that train roller coaster again? And it's seeing me all over again. And that's what I love the most. I get the most joy out of it because I am a roller coaster junkie. He is turning into a roller coaster junkie. And so now that he's officially tall enough to do certain roller coasters at theme parks, hey, I want to go do that again. Is that something we can go do? And the best part about it bringing all this around full circle is, yeah, we can. I think that's the best part of having these points and miles. Not necessarily having to worry about the budget and what else. I mean, yes, I can take some of my points and miles and cash them out and put money into my bank account. But for the most part, hey, Dad, can we go do XYZ? Yeah, let's do it. There's a 3-day weekend coming up. Let's go. That type of stuff. That brings me so much joy.
That's fair. Just no more Blippy.
It's so much Blippy.
I don't want to ask, but I kind of feel like I need to ask, what the hell is Blippy?
It's a kid personality.
Yeah.
It does kid shows and kid education. Oh,
Is this Bluey, but
No.
human? Okay.
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Blippy is his own.
I do not. When my niece and nephew come, they are both small. I am mostly upstairs working, so I do not get to see most of their entertainment.
It's
Thankfully.
probably there.
Yep.
That's why the noise canceling headphones are so important to my life.
Can't wear them while driving though.
No.
My kid didn't learn about Blippy until preschool. She has not brought it to they have not brought it to kindergarten, which is nice. But they were aware of Blippy, and I don't.
So the weird thing about my son's musical preferences is that his favorite artist is Bruno Mars. So
That's a divergence.
we will go from Bruno Mars to Blip, and then maybe to Black Street, and then come right back to Blippy. But he loves Bruno Mars. So when I get the Bruno Mars, hey, Dad, can we listen to Leave the Door Open? I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely, we can.
When he pulls up in that powder blue Lamborghini or that bright orange monstrosity Lamborghini, that's when I just go, I'm a failure at life. Because that guy is 4 years younger than me.
Oh, yeah. He sold his brand for $120 million.
Yeah.
And now it's everywhere. And
Yeah.
just reaping that. He's not even working. He hired the new guy to be Blippy. And he's just sitting back, managing the business, raking it in.
Did original Blippy go to college?
I don't know. I don't know him that well, but I do know from a business standpoint, I looked him up from a business standpoint, and yeah, he's doing very well. And I know he sold his brand very similar to Miss Rachel. He sold his brand for $120 million, and now he's the head of that company.
I have all sorts of time for Miss Rachel, but anyway, no, just, and that was a Blue's Clues reference before.
And here we are on a Monday night recording a podcast. We should be making children's content.
No. I mean, very lucrative.
Would you rather have would you rather have 5% cash back or $120 million, Matt? Which one?
Stop. Do $120 million and never think about cash back again.
The Macoon could be a children's story.
Come around, kids. Let me tell you about credit cards and how your parents are abusing them.
Actually, that would be a pretty good niche, is financial education, because they're not getting it in school.
Oh, no, they're not.
Not in this country, they're not.
No, in this economy? Come on.
And that's not a shot at this country. It's just, hey, if anyone watching and listening to this got financial education in public school before you graduated 12th grade high school, put it in the comments down below, and I guarantee those comments going to have more cobwebs in it than the Tower of Terror.
Should bring back Tower of Terror, but bring back...
I am making all the loops tonight. I'm bringing them all back around. RJ's going to have to flip a coin on what the title's going to be.
So many options.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
2% of an episode.
Thanks, y'all. Do we have any final thoughts? Things we just went through some of them.
0.2% of a thought.
Lonnie.
Hey, it was a small circle. That was a little tiny circle.
I yield my time.
Yeah, I got nothing left.
With that, we'd like to highlight our members. We have no new members on the silver or gold levels this week, but if you want to become a member, stackpoints.com, all the information for our membership, or Lonnie's channel, my channel, RJ's channel, Craig and Tariq, if they ever create their channels, all that information will be there. Our lives, you can get there. Our merch is there. Our Discord is there, and membership options are there. So we highlight our members. No new silver or gold members this week, but our diamond members are Rupert Pond, Rygrex Hunter, Mitch528, Keith, Double Animal Fries, and SJDP1234 has upgraded to diamond as of this week. So thank you so much to our diamond members, to all of our members. We appreciate y'all. With that, we will see you guys next week. Bye for now.